You know what's worse than making a mistake? Making a mistake you don't even realize you're making. Because then you just keep doing it for years. And if you're wondering why your playing isn't progressing as fast as you want, I can almost guarantee that one of these mistakes is holding you back. Now the worst part, some of these mistakes actually feel like the right thing to do, but they're secretly keeping you stuck. So let's fix that. Let's start with the first big mistake that's probably slowing you down right now: not structuring your practice time. This one's a killer because you could be practicing every single day and still not be improving the way you should. Unfocused action, weak results. Too little action, weak results. Focusing on too few areas, weak results. See the pattern? It's not just about practicing, it's about what you practice, how often you practice, how much time you spend practicing each thing. You see, if your practice time is just a free-for-all and you haven't clearly defined what the actual goals are, then you're kind of just wandering aimlessly. No consistency, no progress, just frustration. And that brings us to mistake number 2. Not accenting. Music is rhythmic. It's not just a stream of steady notes. It's about feel, groove, emphasis. And yet, most guitarists completely ignore accenting. If you're just playing every note the same way, you're not playing music at all. You're just making noise. And it doesn't help any that early on as guitarists, when we're getting started, we're actually given the bad advice:
try to make sure every note plays exactly the same volume.
That is good advice in one tiny moment, and here's what it is. It's when you're training yourself to use alternate picking, and there's a glaring difference between the volume of every single downstroke and upstroke. It's when your upstrokes typically are weaker than your downstrokes. That is the only time when that advice has any relevance at all. Your downstrokes and upstrokes should not all sound like each other. One of them, depending on what falls on the downbeat, needs to get played louder, and it might be a downstroke and it might be an upstroke. It depends on the context. Because again, rhythm isn't just about playing steadily, it's about accent. See the difference? The second one actually has groove. It moves, it has life. And once you start focusing on accenting, everything you play starts sounding 10 times better. Mistake number 3, practicing random, incompatible ideas. This is a big one. Almost everybody does this. Imagine trying to learn 3 languages at once, except every word is from a different language and none of them combine to make a sentence. That's what you're doing when you practice a bunch of random, unrelated phrases back to back. You'll never get fluent on the guitar this way. Vocabulary comes from using things together and therefore associating them with each other. That's what's going to make you remember to use them again together later on, spontaneously. Look at it this way. If the things that you're practicing don't actually fit together in the first place, how do you expect them to work together in real playing? Context is everything. Instead, start linking concepts. Specifically, the length of your phrases should be compatible with each other. Keep all the stuff that is multiples of 4 together. Practice that together. You'll associate it with each other after a while. Keep all the stuff that's multiples of 3 or 6. Keep that together. Practice that on a separate day all together. Keep alternating like this. It's the first thing that I actually give to most of my students as their first practice routine. A 2-day rotating practice routine. 4s one day, 3s and 6s the next. That way everything you practice on 4's day actually goes together rhythmically, and if you stay in the same key, harmonically as well. And you do the same thing on 3's and 6's day, and everything's either triplets or sextuplets, however you want to accent it, accenting again. And then you're actually building not just technique, but a full fluent vocabulary, because you know what you've done? You've used them together. Now you're going to associate them with each other more strongly. And every time you come back and do that on 4's day and 3's and 6's day, you're just getting a stronger and stronger vocabulary, and you're becoming more fluent in the language of music. This is actually something I call the rhythmic theme of the day strategy, and I use it all the time in my own practice as well as in my students' practice routines. It makes a world of difference, and it exponentially speeds up your progress in more than just your playing, but your overall fluency as a musician, not to mention your songwriting. Mistake number 4, reciting entire scales like a robot. Be honest, have you ever just played an entire scale up and down as your practice? Oh, sorry. No, really. Real talk. If that came on the radio or on a Spotify playlist, would you listen to that? No, you would turn it off immediately. Nobody wants to listen to scales up and down. Scales are important, just not for the reason you think. They're not a musical phrase, they're literally a list. That's a list of notes that makes up the key. Instead of playing the entire scale, play fragments of scales in sequences. Hear the difference? Now it sounds like an actual melody instead of just a warm-up. Mistake number 5, practicing for too many hours. Wait, practicing too much is bad now? Well, yeah, kind of. See, this one's not really about time, it's about brain function and the limitations of brain function. After a certain amount of time focusing 100% like you need to get real results in practicing, your concentration drops off sharply, and with it, your ability to keep improving. 52 minutes on, 17 minutes off. Signed, Science. That's the ideal work-rest cycle for human concentration. Your brain needs time to process what you're learning, so if you're just grinding for 3 to 4 hours straight, you're actually slowing yourself down. And the worst part about this one is that it feels like you're getting even more done, like you're going above and beyond. And you know what the payoff is? Nothing. All you're really doing is just going through the motions. So stop. Give your brain a rest. Get more results. At least take a break for 17 minutes, then come back to it for another 52. Mistake number 6. Spending too much time on things you're already good at. We all love playing the stuff we're good at. It feels great. It sounds great. You know what it doesn't do? Push you forward. Revisit the stuff you're already good at in short bursts, not full sessions. Once you've got something down, you don't need to keep practicing it the same way or for as long. Just an occasional quick run-through does the trick and keeps it fresh. So instead, shift your main focus over to the weak spots, the things that feel uncomfortable. That's where the real progress happens. Mistake number 7. Staying in exercise mode 100% of the time. No one wants to listen to exercises. Shred already died once because of this. Playing scales at warp speed with zero phrasing is exactly why the no-feeling stereotype exists. And honestly, it's valid. The solution? Apply what you practice. Improvise. Write riffs. Create phrases. Make music people want to listen to. Just don't stay in exercise mode forever. Mistake number 8. Assuming you aren't ready for improvising and songwriting.
I'll start writing songs once I get better at guitar.
I hate to break it to you, but unless you're actually practicing songwriting and improvising, you're going to continue to suck at it. You don't magically get good at things you don't practice. And playing the guitar well doesn't automatically make you just a good songwriter. That's a totally different skill set. Here's a quick test. Are you practicing songwriting? Or are you practicing improvising? If the answer is no to either one or both, then don't expect to get any better at them because they're actually totally different skills from guitar playing. And even though there's some relationship, this skill you have to practice doesn't magically lead to those. It's not a package deal. You're just going to have to work on your songwriting and work on your improv if you want to get good at either one of them. See, you don't need to be a virtuoso to start writing. You just need to start writing. And that includes improvising. And in terms of songwriting, that actually also means recording. So get yourself some recording software and just start using it. It's the only way. And as a bonus, mistake number 9, not having a midterm or long-term strategy. If you've been making any of the mistakes that I just talked about, it's almost a guarantee that you don't have a midterm strategy in place that is 1 year out, let alone a long-term strategy that's 5 or more years. Just vaguely knowing that you want to release music or play live isn't a strategy. And without a strategy, it isn't even a plan, it's just a dream. And this leads to aimless action and slow or virtually non-existent results. Strategies connect your actions, multiply their results, and coordinate your success in multiple areas at once. I've developed and optimized over 50 different strategies for different situations, and a highly adaptable master strategy to keep everything moving forward at the fastest possible pace. And it barely costs anything. I'm simply passionate about this topic and about helping as many guitarists as I can to break through their roadblocks and start playing the way that they really want to, because honestly, the topic of guitar playing has been so overcomplicated for so long, and once I've figured out what works, which ultimately became many of these strategies, it was always with a little bit of bittersweet feeling like that didn't need to be that hard. So this is why I created Shredmentor in the first place. So see for yourself, check the link in the description. Just by approaching things a little bit differently, you can get such a massive improvement. And if you want to see just what's possible once you start putting these kinds of strategies to work for you, watch this video.